Evening, Shadman. How are you?
I am fine, thank you. I am fine, and we are in the server, and this is Operation Locker. So it's going to be interesting to see, and you can see that we have ReZurrection against Geek Squad. So it's going to be an interesting battle, and obviously Locker never disappoints when it comes to pretty close games, I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out if that's the actual map. Yeah, it is going to be Locker. For some reason, I thought we were going to go with another map. I don't know why. But yeah, Team ReZurrection are a new team in the league. Obviously, they're going to go up against talkGEEK, BF4, a UK team that we've seen quite a lot of recently.
Indeed,
And
yes.
I think it's going to be a interesting first game for ReZurrection coming into this cup. I think the Geek guys have been around for a long, long time, so especially in the BF scene. So this could be a rude awakening for these guys.
It's a possibility, but the thing is, obviously, because they're a team that we don't really know very well, they're also an unknown quantity, which means that they could actually come back with a little bit of a surprise. So you can never tell, especially where Battlefield is concerned. So we're looking forward to, obviously, a good run-and-gun session here on Battlefield 4, courtesy of, obviously, ESL UK with our lovely sponsor, Razer. So let's find out. I think there's a few technical issues. I think Wire is having a few technical problems here and there, so I think we should be ready to go very shortly. Now, obviously, for those of you who know this map very well, we're going to see pretty much a standard rollout. You're going to see, obviously, the two teams spawning opposite ends of the map, and you're going to see a push into C as per the norm. So we shall just wait and see how things go and what ReZurrection decide to surprise us with, Dogbert.
Yeah, having not exactly been scouted as well, might come to a bit of an advantage here if they can just get a surprise start. I mean, it is Locker at the end of the day, and it is one of these maps where you can rush either that A B quite early and just trying to put the game into some sort of like chaos really, or you can just play kind of standard like you was talking, get that AC or BC and just play the game out from there. I remember when we started doing this. I mean, there was that AC hold, which is so brutal, and like we've seen teams like Fnatic, for example, using it so much, and then I think around the time teams like UMAV turned up, it really just became a free-for-all map. Teams just used to go back and forth, and those large scores that teams used to come away with on Locker just started to disappear. And I think that just shows you how the maps evolved. But we'll have to wait and see. Maybe we're going to start seeing a change up in tactics in the near future.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, obviously we saw pretty much at the start of things that what happened was people were playing that obviously that AC hold or the A and the A and the C or the B and the C obviously because that tends to be the norm. But like you're saying, when UMAV came along, they changed it from a very sort of measured game to a very run and gun style game, and from that it seemed that A became almost like a massive point of contention between the two teams.
Yeah, indeed. That flag is an easy one to capture because of the spawns that come on top of it. I think that really is what the problem is with that flag. It doesn't really matter like how successful you are in other places. You kill someone once or twice, the chances of them spawning behind that B flag is quite a lot. And it completely just turns all tactics on their head. You're just like, okay, we'll push this flag, we'll get C and B, for example, or A and B, and then all of a sudden B grays out, and you're just like, oh, okay. Do we go for C and try and hold that, or do we try and rush back and try and defend B? And I think we'll see a lot of that in this game. Like teams making decisions on the fly. Do they want to keep that B flag, or do they want to just try and go for a contain?
Yeah, now obviously, those who tend to get the A point also then tend to have that advantage of that little hill area over the top of C to get that visibility. We're just looking at that now on the camera, which is pretty much where most of the guys will actually slot themselves in. They're behind good rocks, they've got coverage as in case anybody comes out through from the A corridors, and they've obviously got good visibility onto the C helipad, including anybody who decides to come in from either of the B exits. So, that's an advantage that's hard to break. We've seen teams throw themselves at those rocks on more than one occasions. We've also seen sneaky little camp spots being discovered and being used. So It's going to be interesting to see how these teams decide to move on this map. The thing is, what you're talking about there is essentially the evolution of tactics on this particular map, and that's something that we've seen in pretty much all the maps that are played competitively, Dogbert.
Yeah, and it's interesting because a few maps obviously can't be added into the pool, but I would like to see how those ones developed as well. Unfortunately, we are stuck with a certain small amount of maps, not quite a few, but I'm always kind of hoping that one day we'll get Resort back into the map pool. I love that map. I don't know why, but yeah, with Locker, like you're saying, it's an evolution of tactics and how you play the map, and with the level of teams we have, that's just how it's going to be. And I think if teams start to get complacent and believing a certain tactic is always going to work on this map, then they're going to get a rude awakening and find themselves on the receiving end of quite a unique or quite a just unexpected tactic.
Indeed, yeah. Now, obviously, one thing that is currently under discussion relating to aspects of Battlefield 4, obviously there are issues that people have with hit detection and things of that nature, is the use of the Ace 52 and the Scar H. Now, obviously, because of the issues that currently exist within the game, a lot of people are using the Scar H in order to actually be competitive because they know their enemy is going to be using it. And so in order to stay competitive and to stand a chance against them, they have to use the Scar H as well. So there's discussions and polls about whether or not the Ace 52 and the Scar H should be banned out of competitive play. I'm curious to know what your opinion is, Dogbert.
You know what, at the moment I think a lot of teams are quite annoyed with just how that weapon works, and if we ban the Scar H and the Ace 52, everyone is just going to go back to the AEK and the Ace 23. But at the same time, there are problems with the Scar H and the Ace 52. They are, I wouldn't say broken, but there's definitely something not quite right there. So yeah, I would like to see. I'd probably like to see them banned. At the same time, I think we should also go back and have a look at a few things which were banned at the beginning that maybe don't really make so much sense anymore. So maybe
like the micros, for example.
Or micros are an example, but even a few other things in kits that are just generally not used. I don't want to end up playing Battlefield where pretty much everything is completely and utterly banned. But at the same time, if things aren't fixed, you've got to take them out.
Indeed.
That's simple as.
Indeed. Hang on a second, keep talking. My screen's gone slightly black.
Slightly?
Yeah, ever so slightly black. There we go. So, yeah, that's sorted out. So I've just been trying to put some stuff in there for the scores and all the rest of it. So anyway, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We are off with the first round, and you can see there's a run-in for the A. So GEEK are in as the Russian team, and you obviously have ReZurrection and in as the blue team. Now, the A hold, as you expected, Kinetic, you can see starting to push, and you've obviously got Stevie over here. He's moved in and tried to take that C point. He gets shut down very quickly, so now the C point looks like it's going to be open to the members of GEEK, and they will then start to move in. So they're going to settle down to what is a quite comfortable A and C hold, Dogbert, and we're going to have to wait and see, because ReZurrection are going to have to try and push in to see what kind of damage they can do onto that A point. And let's see if we can follow as we're watching Diggity. Now, he's in, by the looks of it, yeah, it looks like he's popping in those lovely impact nades, and he's in with the AEK. Now, that's a gun you don't see used very often, but the high cyclic rate gives you quite a massive amount of lead that you can throw in the general direction of your enemy. Now, it's interesting to see them probing the defences around that point. Oh, as there we go, poor old Kinetic gets shut down, but Cougar moving in on a side rage as well, and look at that, it looks like they managed to move in and actually side rage on the enemy and possibly take that A point, Dogbert.
Yeah, Cougar's the only guy who really seems to be getting a few kills out here for Rez. That was a good play from him, got around the back of A, and there you go, the first flag capture onto the A flag for them. The bleed for the first time in this game, but GEEKs are looking very much more aware of where to be on this map right now, and it's just not looking great out of the starting gate for Rez here.
Ooh, very, very nasty shot from the M412 Rex there into one of the poor members of ReZurrection, and he got dirty harried in the face quite substantially. And we just wait and see what's happening. So now you can see the C point. You've got Kinetic moving out towards the C point. He's looking up towards the rocks, checking to see if anyone's going to be looking in that general direction. But the trouble is, he's also got another member of his team who's just taken out Execute, who was moving in to try and probe the defences of the C point. Oh, lovely shot there by Stevie, taking down Frantic. Oh, sorry, for Stevie getting taken down by Frantic. And Frantic is in the process of trying to defend that point against a pretty serious push coming in from Kinetic. Pops the nades over, see if he can do a little bit of a damage, get that little dink onto his enemy, and see if he can do the problems for him. So let's just see. A and a B hold right now, as far as GEEK are concerned. ReZurrection, a little bit on the back foot. They're only 27 tickets adrift. It's definitely within the realms of possibility to pull this back, Dog, but
Yeah, it's salvageable, but it's just the positionings that GEEK are putting themselves in are just really, really good ones. I mean, that's a breakout onto the B flag, really good for Rez. This is what they need, but they need to keep a bit more of a solid presence. Every time GEEK come forward, they really just wipe them out. So here's the bleed, but they only have no defenders at B now. Diggity goes down, and so does J, and there you go. Once again, B completely wiped out. All defenders from Rez gone. And GEEK's just looking really solid right now. I mean, they're outside. Frantic got took down by Kinetic, so that has opened up the A flag. But you can see the rotations coming in from GEEK now, and the spawns onto A.
Yeah, we're just looking at the spawn in A at the moment through the likes of Frantic, taking down one member of Rez as he moved in, and you can see the fire being taken from him, and massive amounts of bullets being chucked down that corridor, and you can see Execute trying to defend as best as possible. There we go, Ace 23 into Rez Kinetic, but then literally dying in a hail of bullets coming in from Stevie, and more nades going in, and there we go, getting a nice kill, a final consolation kill, and it looks like they're going to go up against him, but no. Here comes another one coming in as well. And how has he managed to survive that? Dally UK managed to survive that. And there's a huge fight going on at that A point. And it looks like the poor members of ReZurrection got completely overwhelmed at that A point. They've now lost that A point, but the B point is being held by them. And the C point is being pressured by them, Dogbert.
Yeah, and for Rez, it's not completely terrible for them, but they are able to put a bit of pressure on here. But Psychopath here comes straight from behind, takes the hill, and now puts all the pressure on the C flag in awkward position. And there you go, Frantic and Psychopath just finish that off, and there you go. AC and GEEK are just looking really, really strong right now. They're keeping them in place the whole time, but they're never able to break through and get the flags they need.
Yeah, that's the problem at the moment that ReZurrection are having, is that A point's being defended pretty well. The other choke points also being defended by other members of GEEK. And now you can see ReZurrection starting to move out towards the C point, where it looks like Stevie got shut down very quickly indeed. And now you can see Diggity having a little bit of a trade of bullet fun going on there between him and the members of the A point. And unfortunately, it's looking like only him are only standing, and it looks like he's going to try and get out towards that C flag, see if he can do some damage. He's got to watch out. He's getting shot from behind, and he gets finished off very quickly by Frantic UK, who's in the infused Tom camping spot. So, yeah, very nasty indeed. And we're looking at Seki, who is obviously defending that C flag, doing a good job of it. And most of the pressure is being put by ReZurrection onto the A infirmary. And I think the A infirmary, it looks like the GEEK team members are actually doing a good job of defending it, Dogbert.
Yeah, but you do see that CV's managed to get through, but you can just see that GEEK are just swarming them every time. And the Rez are just getting stuck in this middle corridor on the map around the metal detectors and are really not able to project their power into any of these flag points. And it's just not looking good for them at all.
Yeah, so let's see if we can find out what's going on as the fire is continuing. Kinetic is in danger of being shot from the back, which is exactly what happens. Dally takes him down with a compact in the back. And now we're seeing what's going on as there's Dally with his compact moving in, clearing up what's required, and trying to get a little bit of ammo back from the Ace 23 of one of his fallen comrades. So it looks like the A and the C point, or the A and the C hold, is going to change as Psychopath BE looks to get one of his teammates back up, but dies almost immediately. Fortunately, oh, look at that. Great play there by Rez, and they've managed to take that C point now. The question is whether or not they can move from this B and C hold in towards a stronger position against the A flag, Dogbert.
Yeah, and this is a chance to kind of get rid of some of the ticket bleed here, but they're going for a full domination cap. Kinetic by himself, though, and that's going to be 4 people from Geek spawning in to try and stop him. So, yeah, a bit outnumbered there and completely outgunned. And Diggity trying to at least put a bit of a delay onto this pressure onto B, but you can just see that Geeks are just feeling completely comfortable in going for whatever flags they want and just leaving whatever they have behind them either lightly defended or completely open.
Yeah, we're watching through the eyes of Psychopath. He's in the process of trying to defend the B point, I should say. And now you can see, as we look in as Retard, unfortunately, J Retard gets taken down. And now it looks like we're looking at Cougar. Looking through the eyes of Cougar, teammate spawns nearby him. They start to actually push in towards the A point, so this might be an opportunity for them to get the bleed away from them. It's 149 tickets to 64, but Cougar gets shut down very quickly. And he gets air-conditioned in the worst way imaginable. And we're looking at Dally, who's trying to defend this point. He's in there with the Scar and is trying to essentially stay behind this particular medicine table as it provides an awful lot of cover to him, as it looks like Seki moving up as well and chucking a grenade onto one of the enemy, as you see Rez move immediately in towards the B point and start trying to cap that and get the bleed off them with 146 tickets to 153.
Yeah,
sorry,
it's
53 even.
It's dominant right now for Geeks. Just everywhere they need to be. They're containing Rez like all the time, and even there, you see, it was a 2-on-2, and eventually it just went Geeks' way. They get the revives as well, and this is just becoming really painful right now. And I really don't know what Rez are going to have to be able to do. They need to probably group up in a 5-man and just try and bulldoze away into flags. But oh man, Geek are just not making it easy for them at all.
Yeah, that's pretty much the case at the moment, so sorry for the slight graphical change there, guys. That might actually improve things a little bit, as far as we're concerned. Yes, it does. So, there we go. Yeah, just had to change the scale of the HUD size so that it doesn't overlays properly for you guys. Now, let's find out what Stevie's up to. Looks like he's going to be pushing towards that point, but he comes under fire almost immediately, and a nade coming in for him. So Stevie's going to be coming under fire from Frantic, and it looks like him and Frantic are going to be having a little bit of a bullet party any minute now. You can see the nades being chucked, and it looks like, there we go, he gets finished off by Stevie coming in around on the side rage, and it looks like Stevie's in, possibly with the M416. Yeah, that's a gun you don't see being used very often, but definitely pretty accurate as far as we can see.
Yeah, and it's just brutal. But, you know, Geek here, going to get that C flag. They have a 2-man defense at A. I think Rez here going to try and get into the A flag as quick as possible, but oh, it's a big pick-off over on Psychopath. This is going to give them a chance here, but they need to win at A, and they need to do it quick. It's going to be connected by himself. He needs more people to spawn on top of him, but this might be their last chance in this round.
Yeah, and this is not looking good for Kinetic. Kinetic coming under fire from multiple directions, trying to jump out of the way of that exploding barrel, but unfortunately for him, he was pretty much unsuccessful, as more fire coming in as ReZurrection are in the process of trying to go up against these guys. Out comes the 416 Psychopath being taken down, and the quick res going in as well, and we're just finding out what's going on as we're following Stevie as he's moving in towards that point. So let's see what's going on as the point is in the process of being captured. So they're going for an A in the C hole, but now look at the members of Geek moving in onto the B point very quickly. Nades go out, bullets come flying in, and pretty much multiple members of Geek being taken down here. There's Diggity being finished off as well, and there we go, shot in the back as well. Oh, fantastic. It looks like ReZurrection have actually managed to defend that B point, and now, as a result of that, it looks like pretty much every member of Geek has actually spawned outside, and you can see the members of ReZurrection going in very quickly for the A cap, but I don't think it's going to be enough in time, Dogbert.
No, but if anything is going to do it, it's going to be Cougar trying to hold out this A flag. He's got Diggity in there as well, unconnected. He's already got the first kill. And while this is going on, they are trying to capture C as well. So this could be a comeback in the making. I mean, this is a full domination cap right now. A, C, and B. And they are holding down this A defense quite well. A 3-on-2-man defense. But C has been opened up, and that flag will go over to Geeks, but while this is still going on, A is still in their control and so is B, so that bleed's continuing. This is great work from them, and if they'd done this earlier on, they would not have to deal with such a massive ticket lead at the moment on their Geek side. Yeah,
and we're now looking at a situation where it's down to 106 tickets to 7, so it's still pretty much all they've got to try and do as much as they possibly can. Now the B point is actually being dealt with by Geek, but at the same time you've obviously got J-Retard in there as well, trying to take that point back, and he manages to take the C point back and manages to survive a push coming in as Geek are pushing pretty hard in towards that point. But Stevie looks to be the last man standing and defending that B point, and is waiting for a quick run in from the likes of Psychopath, and Psychopath is literally going to try and throw as much hot lead in his direction as he possibly can, and it looks like, there we go, they're going to lose that point, and a quick push in there by Rez onto the C point means they lost that one. So it looks like the bleed is actually now going to be going back against the likes of ReZurrection, and now they've got to try and move, but unfortunately they will be too late. And there we go, 92 tickets to 0 in the first half.
Yeah, but they did a great job at the end there. Rez actually picked it up. They got a full domination cap. They managed to hold that for quite a while. Eventually, Geeks managed to figure out where their defenders were. A was a bit over the top defended, but B and C were a bit easier to capture. But you can just see in the kills here, like, how strong Geeks are right now. Just wow.
Indeed, yeah, they are pretty damn strong, I have to say. So obviously we're just waiting to go on to the next round, and then we should be underway. Let's just wait and see. So, what do you think on that? I mean, obviously ReZurrection, with their first sort of foray into ESL for a while, going to be a little bit of a problem, and Geek doing a great job, really. They just played steady and stuck with it, really, as my phone bleeps at me.
Well, I think that's pretty much what it came down to. Is they just seemed a lot more comfortable on the map and the positions and the rotations, and that's something that Rez really just didn't do. They tried to play the catch-up game pretty much from the get-go, and Geeks really just punished them for it. But at the end there, that's where Rez started to like actually pick it up. They got the capture. They went for a full domination cap. To be honest, the only thing they could do at this point, they chipped away like 40 tickets, and that was the best play from them all game. And if they can do something like that again, then there's nothing saying they can't win this map. But Geeks just look a better team right now. So if Rez can have that moment of brilliance continue a little longer, then maybe. But right now, you must be feeling quite comfortable if you're a Geek fan.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. That's a fair assessment. So we're just obviously waiting to get underway any minute now, and talkGEEK will be obviously in the blue, and ReZurrection will be in the red, and we are live, ladies and gentlemen. So the A point being taken very quickly. Looks like ReZurrection going for a two-man defense with a two-man run in towards the C point. Going to be going up against multiple members of Geek who literally charged in there and tried to take that point as quickly as possible. So it looks like a two-man defense, and looking at Kinetic, who's waiting, trigger finger ready, and there we go. There's the first kill into Dally, and so that's going to be an important thing, and it looks like they're going to try and hold at that point, but it's pretty much looks like the action's going on over at the C point, Dogbert.
And this is where it's going to come down to a lot of problems. Like, if Rez cannot... Oh, that was a trade there on second J. That is definitely not what they needed. They needed that C flag. They didn't get it, and now they're being contained into A. And this is where it gets worrying for them. They need to be able to break out. But everywhere on the map, Geek have a defender.
Yeah,
I mean, you can go B, there's nothing there. They're all spawning on A. They managed to get the 2 kills out in the middle tunnel. This means that they can probably pressure that B flag, but they're being very slow about it, and it looks like they want to go for C. I'm not sure I like it, but if they can pull it off, this will be amazing. Yeah,
so we're obviously moving out towards the C point, so you can see it looks like we've got a defender there. So we're looking at Execute, who's trading fire with the rocks overlooking the C point, so one of the little red Doritos up there, chucking hot lead in the general direction of this player. So let's see what's going on. He's waiting for that all important. There we go. Unfortunately made himself available and caught a few bullets in the face. It's J-Retard being taken down. So the A point currently being held by the members of ReZurrection, the C and the B being held by Geek, and they're settling down for a comfortable bleed. There's words that you don't hear that often.
Yeah, well, right now, I mean, Geek are just comfortable with this CB hold. I think they're probably going to pressure that A anyway. As soon as they get a pick, they probably don't know how many people are defending it. But here you go, Rez are overcommitting to C right now, so I expect to see Geek trying to push this A flag at any moment now. But that's 3 defenders out of C. This is crazy.
And there we go, Geek coming in, taking down, that's Frantic, I should say. Frantic UK, oops, oh dear, a little bit of a faux pas there, but never mind. He takes down one of the enemy, and it looks like he's probing the defences of the A point. So we're just following him as he makes his way in. And you can see that pretty much he can see the defenders in there. He's hoping to get a pick, maybe. But the thing is, he can take his time because he doesn't have to worry about the likes of having a bleed against him. Now, the trouble is as far as ReZurrection are concerned, they have the clock against them. The tickets are disappearing very quickly. And there we go. That's exactly what Frantic is trying to do. He's trying to get a little pick onto that A point and then basically make them sort of think twice, put them on the back foot, perhaps, Dogbert.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of really what Rez can do at this point. They're just being contained to A. Every time they push onto C, they just get shut down. And I think they need to switch up and start going B. That's their only chance here right now. They don't have that many tickets to play with either, so they need to do something quick. But B is their only option because C, they've been trying now for how many times? And they just get shut down and shut down really hard.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is obviously you've got Psychopath who's in that rather nasty little camp spot. And you've got what looks to be Seki also over there as well in a very nasty little rocky outcropping. That means that they've got plenty of defences. Nades coming in, and it looks like they're trying to circumvent round the side to try and get it in. And it looks like he may not actually be able to make it, but there's still the pressure being put on to that C point. And there we go. It looks like two members of ReZurrection have now been taken down. And it pretty much looks like Cougar's the last man standing. So there's a spawn onto the A point. Now they've got to push out from the A point, and there's a possibility they may get pinned in from all directions, Dogbert.
Yeah, Geek now are just going to go for the kill, I think. They're just going to pressure as much as they can. You can see Psychopath here by himself going into that C flag. That's two already. Trying to make it a third, having to run away as more spawns coming on that A flag. But you can just see Geek now are just feeling really, really confident. They're just coming forward for the kills, and that's going to be a team wipe. A is completely wide open, and the only reason Rez are on that B flag is because they got completely stomped, and they spawned right on top of that flag.
Yeah, that was unfortunately the problem, as now obviously no member of Geek was actually back far enough at the B point to stop that spawn nearby the B point. So it now means obviously we're looking at Steve as he's moving in towards the C point, see if he can actually get in there and get that point back. Looks like ownership may be going to change. We'll have to wait and see. The guys are starting to bunch up a little bit. That's going to be a dangerous thing to happen, as you can see obviously looks like Jay going to be going up against Psychopath. Psychopath standing next to a red barrel. That's never really conducive to healthy living. And you can see him, he is trying to defend with his 416 against the nades that are coming in. So he backs off to avoid that splash damage, tries to see if he can get an important pick onto one of the guys. And there we go, gets caught reloading, but manages to take Cougar out as well. Oh, Cougar's going to be swearing about that one. And we just wait and see what's going on. So the C and the B now being held by ReZurrection, and the bleed is against Geek. But Geek, comfortable. They have 173 tickets, but it only has to get down to 92 for ReZurrection, and that will be it. Game over.
Yeah, and right now, what is it with Rez? They seem to pick it up like right near the end of the games, and there you go. They just wiped out 3, and that's A wide open. They're probably going to lose this C flag as Sek pulls it onto, and Diggy's just there by himself. He gets taken down eventually, but there you go. They'll get into A, and look at instantly. They're going to go and try to defend that C flag. They're not going to bother with B. They're going to try and capture C, and this is what they need. They need this A and C hold. This is the best one in the game, and they're going to try and get it early.
Yeah, the problem is obviously what happened is you saw them move out of the B point almost immediately to move over towards the C and get the A as well. And as a result of that, there was nobody back there to actually stop the spawns coming in from Geek. So Geek essentially just spawned en masse at that particular position. And it's looking pretty nasty now for a push into A. As Kinetic, there we go, taking down 1, taking down 2, and the third person doing the damage and getting his team back up. So that's very unfortunate. That's one of the nasty things about Battlefield, is you've got to get everybody, because all they've got to do, pop a couple of reses, and that small squad is back up and running very quickly. So now you can see that essentially it looks like ReZurrection are out in the cold, and they are now being taken down very quickly as they are moving in through those tunnels to try and get back into the game. And it's looking like, there we go, the number of tickets has gone under the magic number of 92, and that will be a win for Geek BF4, Dogbert.
Yeah, it's just a dominant display from Geek. So really showed their understanding of this map is just a lot better. And Rez, you know, they had some moments of real brilliance. but they just couldn't keep it together really. And Geek just shown themselves to be a much stronger team here. They'll go on to face Infuse next, and it's going to be a hard one for them, I think. But it's going to be best of British, basically.
Indeed. We're looking forward to that, and it's going to be interesting to see now. Obviously, they've taken them on before, so they know Infused are by no means a pushover. It's going to be a very, very hard-fought fight between these teams. So, there you have it. That has been Operation Locker between Geek BF4 and Team ReZurrection. So, we shall obviously just keep an eye on everything while they play out the remaining tickets. I don't know if they're going to change it or end it. We'll just have to confirm what's going to happen, and then we shall be underway with the next aspect of this competition, which obviously will be Geek BF4 versus Team Infused. So this shall be an interesting battle in the very near future. So we continue to watch the gunfights. You can see, obviously.
But you're still watching them like basically pub heroes now.
Yeah, it is pretty much pub hero right now. So yeah, we're just floating around in the observer mode, watching to see what's going on. So yeah, I mean, you know, personally, I really enjoy Operation Locker as a map. I find it extremely enjoyable. This particular point here is actually one of my favourite points to sit when you're actually on the burn for possibly the B, or you know, as depending on what it is, the D, depending on what the conquest level is. So. This tends to be a very good spot to sit because obviously you've got good visibility. People come down the stairs. Got people coming down the stairs. You can obviously hear anyone coming down. And there is also over here another equal spot. Pretty good. Keeps you on the burn for the flag and gives you plenty of cover so you can stay behind here and deal with any problem people that come in your general direction. But yeah, it's always going to be a nasty map because it's very easy to get choke points on this particular map, Dogbert.
Yeah, and it's always just been one of those ones that you just get, especially from about A and C, you just get caught in this corridor warfare. It's like the beginning of Star Trek: A New Hope, where Star Wars: A New Hope, where they're trying to fight their way through narrow corridors and stormtroopers just laying waste to the rebels. I mean, that's my 2 cents whenever I seem to fight on this map. It's just awkward sometimes to break through, and especially near A. Actually, if you go near there, where there's a fight breaking out right now, you see a lot of players hiding behind the metal. The bars and so on, and really just difficult to see anyone, let alone kill them. So yeah, there's some really nasty hiding spots on this map.
There are indeed. Now, obviously, one of the important areas on the A point is I'm actually in the secondary lab here with the light boxes and everything like that. And this desk is such a key moment because, I mean, or a key point because for those hiding behind the desk, you can see down the corridor that goes over to the other side. You can see down that corridor, but most importantly, you can see towards metal detectors here, and you can see anybody pushing in that way. And so we've seen some, I mean, obviously, I think I remember Hadoukens having a massive 3-man kill against Fnatic from this defensive position because of the defensive firepower, or sorry, the defensive aspect of this desk. I mean, this must be the most well-armed desk in history.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to take any damage at all. It really does. I mean, initially when we first did this map, like back in the day, it was like a little fortress, that area. It doesn't seem to get used quite as much. I think players like to rotate it out a bit, not always be so obvious in where they're hiding.
Indeed, indeed. So we shall be back as soon as we've got the next bunch of teams on the server, and then we shall be underway with that match. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching, of course, ESL UK with myself, Chapman, and Dogbert. We shall be right back after.